Hey, boys and girls. As we approach the halfway point of pre-season, I've been doing a lot of thinking on where the squad currently sits and also around what still needs to happen, in my opinion, in terms of ins and outs. And so I felt it was worth putting it all down on paper to get a real clear picture ahead of what I believe is a must-win season. So let's get straight into it. I think it's obvious that David Raya is our first choice goalkeeper, and we now have a very capable deputy in Kepa. On the right hand side, I do believe Timber is our first choice right back. I think he was incredible last season. And I think if fit, we have an exceptional second choice in Ben White. Saliba, it goes without saying, the Rolls Royce. I do think he played way too many minutes last season, and so it's really nice to see that the club's gone out and bought themselves what I believe is a real up-and-coming, exciting defender. Gabriel, Big Gabby, possibly my favourite player at Arsenal. He had a bad injury towards the back end of last season, which saw Kivior step in and deputise incredibly well. And I think Kivior actually surprised a lot of us, if I'm being honest. So if Gabriel needs a little bit more time at the start of the season, at the moment, I don't have any concerns with Kivior stepping in. On the left, Miles Lewis-Skelly, what a player. Last season was just incredible to see how he burst on the scene. And I think the position is his to lose as it stands. And then your backup options to MLS would be Calafiori, who I don't love as a left back because he's obviously not a left back and I think he gets caught out a lot. And then I guess your only other option is possibly considering Zinchenko. But I've got to say, I do think Zinchenko will leave this transfer window. So if you're being really critical, I guess you could say that we could be in a little bit of we could be a little bit short here on this left-sided defense, but I don't think it's a priority based on what else we possibly need to be doing. At the base here, our new boy, Zubamendi, who's already proven what a quality player he is. And then again, in backup, we have another exceptional player in Norgard, who I think has come in relatively low key, but I think will prove to be a really important player moving in to the season. We've then got, in my opinion, possibly the most important, if not joint most important player in our team, which is Declan Rice. Whenever Declan Rice is in the team, I feel very confident. And that's just because of the amount of energy and coverage he puts into a game. You know, going back, coming forward, he's improved himself going forward. I just think he is an exceptional player. Back up to him at the moment seems to be Mikel Merino. Merino's a funny one for me. He's obviously got a knack for scoring important goals, but I don't know if he's mobile enough or quick enough to play that 8 role in the Premier League. So it'll be interesting to see how Arteta uses him this season. Then you've got our captain, Odegaard, who in my opinion needs to have a massive season after what was an incredibly disappointing season last year. But I do think he's showing some good form in pre-season so far. And then it appears at the moment the most logical backup to Odegaard is Nwaneri. Nwaneri obviously played a lot on the right-hand side when Saka was injured last year, but it does sound like this year Nwaneri is going to be used more centrally, and I think he is a superb talent, and I'm looking forward to seeing him grow as the season progresses. On the right-hand side, who else? Starboy himself, Saka, and we now have Madueke as our backup to Saka, which I think is a very good place to be. And I think Madueke is going to want to prove a lot of people wrong based on the amount of criticism that was thrown his way when the transfer was announced. On the left-hand side, now this is where it gets interesting for me. Currently, I'd say Martinelli has that position, and I think Trossard is the backup option. Now, I like both of these players, but if I'm being super critical and I'm trying to raise the standards of this club, I think we need to upgrade on these two players if we want to win the Premier League. And the final position is Gyökeres. We finally have a number 9, a striker, a real striker. And I just can't wait to see what he does this season. And then back up to Gyökeres is Havertz, who obviously is a player that divides opinion, but I think in that backup role as a plan B option, I'm very comfortable with that. So there we have it. I think what I really like about this is we finally are in a place where we have a really good, competent squad. We have genuine options, and we have 2 players for every position, which in my opinion, a squad trying to compete for big titles needs to have 2 quality players in every position. Now, if we consider possible outgoings, I think players that should be leaving the club this season would be Nelson. And it sounds like Fulham or Crystal Palace could be the most likely option. I think it's time for Zinchenko. Me personally, I've never really understood why Zinchenko hasn't been given a chance in a more central midfield role. I think he's an incredibly talented footballer, but he is a little bit weak on the ball and he does like to give the ball away a little bit cheaply. So I think that Zinchenko is one of the few players we have who could generate a bit of money for us. And so if we are looking at making more signings, I think he possibly could be let go this season. Fabio Vieira didn't come on tour. I have no idea where he is or what's going on there, but he's ultimately not a player that Arteta is considering moving forward. And I think we should be looking to get rid. And then the final obvious choice would be Sambi Lokonga, who it just hasn't worked out, and that happens sometimes. So I think those 4 players there should be moved on. I think Nelson, we should be looking to get somewhere in the region of 15 mil. I think Zinchenko should be somewhere in the region of 15 mil as well. Fabio Vieira, possibly 10 to 15 mil. And I think Sambi Lokonga is probably, somewhere around the region of 10 mil. And look, I personally think they should be sold for more, but we know what Arsenal are like when it comes to outgoings. We're not great at getting good money for players. And I think the reality is that all 4 of these players are not players that you would say are high priority signings for any major teams out there. So you're looking at the best part of maybe 10, 20, 50 mil of outgoings. Now, if we look at players that I personally think need to come in, the number 1 priority for me is Eze. For me, Eze is an unbelievable signing for Arsenal, and I think he's a player that puts us in a really, really good position moving into the new season. If Eze comes through the door, I'm currently looking at this season as a kind of 8 out of 10. Sorry, this transfer window is an 8 out of 10. I think he offers us options here. I think he offers us options here in the 8 role, and I think he also offers us options on the left-hand side there. So not only is he a highly skillful player who can create magic out of nothing, but he's a versatile option across the attack there, which I think is what Arteta loves. Now, if I'm going to be greedy, particularly when I think about what Liverpool have done, what Man City have done, the fact Chelsea are improving, I still think we need a star left wing. Now, look, I know the market for superstar left wingers is pretty small, but I think from a point of having a really robust squad where teams start to fear us moving into the new season, I think we should be looking at either Rodrigo, Leao from Milan, or possibly Anthony Gordon from Newcastle. I think all 3 of those players are an improvement on either Martinelli or Trossard. Because my concern is, say Gyökeres goes down injured. All of a sudden, we've got a front line of Saka, Havertz, and Martinelli, which in my opinion, we've seen before. And we know that the only player out of those three who contributes on a regular when it comes to goals is Starboy. And that is not going to win us the league, in my opinion. And so I personally would love to see Arsenal really push the boat out and go all in on bringing Eze in and one of these three on left wing. And if that means that we need to get rid of either a Martinelli or a Trossard, then I hate to say it, but I'm okay with that. On the premise that I think it's finally time we need to get serious and we need to be more cutthroat. And as I said, I love Martinelli. I like Trossard, but I think now is the time to really dial it up and really try and create the best possible team we can. And I think this is an area we can make an improvement. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I think we're in a good position. I'm excited for the season ahead, but I do think we need more. And at the bare minimum, I want Eze through the door. And if we get one of these, then I'm on cloud 9. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.